And we welcome you to the 10-and-1/2-month-old Gamble Pavilion in Storrs, Connecticut. The next time the UConn Huskies lose a game in this building will be the first time they lose one. Tonight, they'll try to make it 8 in a row. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi. With me, Ron Perry, the former All-American at Holy Cross. And tonight, UConn, ranked 16th in the country, will try to raise its record to 5-1. Now, in all candor, the opponent tonight, not exactly the toughest one on the UConn schedule. New Hampshire has struggled. 0-6 this year. In fact, over the last 4 seasons and through the first 6 games this year, New Hampshire has won only 17 games and has lost 100 games. Nevertheless, Ron, second-year coach Jim Boylan thinks he has discovered some silver lining in those clouds.
Well, he knows he's got a young team. Only one senior, Eric Thielen, on this squad, the leading rebounder, but John Perry is now playing on the team. He was the leading receiver for this year's UNH football team with 51 receptions. He's shooting the ball very well from the perimeter at 21 against Manhattan. Has to help in taking good care of the ball tonight against UConn pressure. And Pat Manor, I should say, really has to do a good job getting to the goal. He's the North Atlantic rookie last year and the leading scorer on this year's team.
Now, after winning its first 3 games, UConn actually led North Carolina for the first 33 minutes down in Chapel Hill last Thursday before eventually losing the Tar Heels by 15 in the ACC Big East Challenge. The Huskies rebounded by winning at Maine by 25. Still, Coach Jim Calhoun trying to fit those pieces into the puzzle.
Well, that's right. I mean, you lose some key players from last year's team. The Dove Hennefeld and Tate George accounted for so much of the positive things that happened to UConn's team. The points, the rebounds, the assists, but also the leadership. And this year, the reins are really being taken over by Chris Smith. He played great basketball last year for UConn, and this year really accounted for the leadership, the scoring, and just the take-charge attitude out there for Jim Calhoun. Getting the ball up the court. John Gwynn, also very explosive. UConn gets so much off of the oppression defense, the points from Smith, and in this game against UNH has been turning it over better than 20 times a game. Connecticut has been getting 20 turnovers from their opponents, so it'll be pressure. Can UNH handle it? UNH will find out.
The series between these two schools goes way back, like to the 1906-07 season. New Hampshire won that first meeting 33-11. Guess they didn't have a shot clock back then. We'll meet the starting lineups for the 111th UConn-New Hampshire game right after we pause for these local messages. So ready to meet the new president here at the University of Connecticut. The public address announcer here at the Gamble Pavilion is Roger Baker.
Ladies and gentlemen, and UConn students, we direct your attention to midcourt. Before we introduce tonight's starting lineups, we'd like everyone here at the Harry A. Gamble Pavilion to join us as we offer congratulations and our most sincere best wishes to a very special person at the University of Connecticut. For the past 19 years, he's been part of the UConn family, and tonight the Division of Athletics takes great pride in introducing to all our great fans the new president of the University of Connecticut, Dr. Harry J. Hartley. Presenting Dr. Hartley with his own UConn Husky jacket is Connecticut Director of Athletics, Lou Perkins. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Harry A. Gamble Pavilion and tonight's basketball contest between the Wildcats of the University of New Hampshire and the Huskies of the University of Connecticut. Now let's meet the starting lineups. At forward for New Hampshire, a 6'6 senior from Wayland, Massachusetts, number 54, Eric Thielen. At forward for Connecticut, a 6'7 sophomore from Hamden, Connecticut, number 24, Scott Burrell. At forward for New Hampshire, a 6'5" sophomore from Hudson, New Hampshire, number 34, Pat Manor. At forward for Connecticut, a 7 foot 1/2 inch junior from Williamsville, New York, number 55, Dan Cerulik. At center for New Hampshire, a 6'9" freshman from Baldwinsville, New York, number 50, Pat Niemeyer. At center for Connecticut, a 6'9½" junior from Florence, South Carolina, number 22, Rod Sellers. At guard for New Hampshire, a 5'10" sophomore from Andover, Massachusetts, number 21, John Perry. At guard for Connecticut, a 6'3" junior from Tel Aviv, Israel, number 10, Gilad Katz. At guard for New Hampshire, a 6'4" junior from Rochester, New Hampshire, number 30, Jeff Carr. And at guard for Connecticut, a 6'2" junior from Bridgeport, Connecticut, number 13, Chris Smith. Introducing the head coaches for the Wildcats, Jim Boylan, and for the University of Connecticut, Jim Calhoun. Tonight's officials.
And we'll be back with the opening tip-off for tonight's ball game after these local messages. Ready to go, UConn going from left to right in the home white uniforms. Rod Sellers at 6'9" will be jumping center. New Hampshire in the visiting blues will go from right to left in the first half. Number 50, Matt Niemeyer, a 6'9" freshman, will jump it up. One of the officials, Tim Higgins, will lean in and throw the ball up. And we are ready to go from the Gamble Pavilion. Tap controlled by Chris Smith, immediately stolen away by Pat Manor, the North Atlantic Conference Rookie of the Year as a freshman. And New Hampshire with the ball, and UConn starts out what defensively? Man-to-man?
Man-to-man, trying to put some pressure right away on New Hampshire. I think important for New Hampshire is to get a couple of things to go well early to build some confidence in this game.
And Manor, the leading scorer for New Hampshire, guarded by Burrell, gets by Scott. He drives down low, and a blocking foul will be called on Gilad Katz. And Pat Manor will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple.
Oh, that was a backdoor cut by New Hampshire. Very tight denial, man-to-man pressure by Connecticut, and I'm sure Jim Calhoun stressed putting the pressure on, trying to create the defensive pressure, turnovers, and go down and score. But Pat Manor with a good power move that time. Jim Calhoun really stresses defensive pressure in the offense to take care of itself from the D.
Manor misses the first free throw. He is a 64% shooter from the line through the first 6 games this season. Manor leading the team in scoring with 10.2 per game. Missed them both, and rebounds to Katz, who's getting his first start since opening night, starting instead of Steve Peichel tonight. This is Scott Burrell, and New Hampshire also in the man-to-man run. Down low to Cerulik, and lost his balance, tried to throw it up, and was knocked out of bounds by Niemeyer. So UConn will inbound, and we have our first substitution in the ball game. Lyman DePriest, 6'5" senior, co-captain from Highland Park, Michigan, goes in, and Dan Cerulik sits down after just 37 seconds. He had just 1 rebound in 20 minutes the other day in Maine.
Yeah, we thought that Maury Williams or Lyman DePriest may actually even start the game.
This is Burrell in the lane, guarded by Manor, gives up the dribble, throws it up, and UConn takes a 2-0 lead, and here we see the full court press. We'll see a lot of it.
Well, this will be the key. Can New Hampshire control the ball against pressure and actually go down and score?
And first time down, first turnover. DePriest steals, Smith lays it in.
Well, this is exactly what UConn wants to do. Put the pressure on, try to trap down the sideline. New Hampshire has to try to get the ball to the middle, fill the lanes, and go down and attack and score against pressure.
Manor is trapped directly in front of us. Gets it across the timeline. This is Jeff Carr, 6'4" junior out of Rochester, New Hampshire, number 30 with the ball. And there's John Perry. No relation to you, Ron, is it?
No, not at all.
Did you play football?
No, I didn't. I did some kicking in high school, but John Perry was the leading receiver on this year's very successful UNH football team. He can shoot the ball from the perimeter. Connecticut in the zone this time. 54 Thielen. And Pat Manor, 34, along with John Perry, will have to do the scoring for New Hampshire in this game.
This is Perry for 3. Burrell way up in the air to get the rebound, but he loses control to Thielen, who is called for steps. Thielen is New Hampshire's leading rebounder. Jim Calhoun, first time as a UConn coach going against New Hampshire, but he saw a lot of them from his days at Northeastern, because Northeastern and New Hampshire both in the North Atlantic Conference. There we see Jim's career record, an impressive one indeed. Burrell down low to DePriest, who loses the ball. Last touch by New Hampshire, so UConn will inbound beneath its own basket. Jim Boylan played on the 1977 NCAA championship team for Al McGuire's Marquette Warriors. Actually started his collegiate career at Assumption College in Worcester. Smith hits the jump off the inbounds. He has 4, UConn has 6, New Hampshire hasn't scored. We've played 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Well, no one for UNH can stay with the quickness of a Chris Smith, so if he makes that explosive move, he could have a field day scoring in this game.
Smith, incidentally, has just moved into 19th place on the all-time UConn scoring list with 1,026 points. Moves ahead of Cal Chapman, graduate at 74. Here's another steal. Burrell, 2-on-2 break with Katz.
Beautiful feed, and I think Jimmy Boylan's going to want a quick timeout here to regroup the Wildcats. A strong start for the University of Connecticut in this one.
So we played 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and UConn off to a quick 6-0 lead. UConn off to a quick 8-0 start. New Hampshire to inbound following the timeout by Coach Jim Boylan. How do you handle this press? What was he talking about during the timeout, you think?
I think he was just saying, hey, let's settle down. This is not the kind of start obviously we wanted, but it was really a timeout to say, keep your poise, let's get out and be aggressive, play loose out there, guys.
And Lyman DePriest steals it to Katz, over to Smith, 4-3. Rebound, DePriest fights for it, knocked out of bounds by Perry of New Hampshire. Boy, DePriest gets his hand on just about everything, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's so aggressive off the bench, plays the good defense, and just gets up off his feet on the offensive glass.
Checking into the lineup for New Hampshire, Bob Cummins, 6'2" junior from Bethesda, Maryland. He enters the lineup replacing Perry at the point guard, and he is guarding UConn's point guard, Gilad Katz, the junior in his first year here at UConn from Tel Aviv, Israel. Cross court to Katz, he'll throw up the 3, and it's rebounded in the lane by Cummins.
New Hampshire played the 2-3 zone that time, forcing the outside shot.
And Katz picks up his second personal foul already, and he will immediately exit. Steve Peichel will check into the ballgame.
Well, Katz aggressive to start this game. Perhaps a little too aggressive as he bodies up that time against Cummins and picks up the second personal.
So Peichel in at point guard. He's number 21, 6'4", graduate student and co-captain from St. Paul High School in Bristol, Connecticut. Played just 6 minutes the other day against Maine. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say, Katz played well in that game, though, and the other combination Jim Calhoun's gone to, of course, has been Gwynn and Chris Smith in the backcourt.
Jeff Carr throws it up from long range, no good. A rebound foul underneath on Peichel. First on Steve, and UConn already with 3 team fouls in the first 3.5 minutes.
UConn, a much quicker, bigger team, so it's important for New Hampshire to just move the ball, and if the opening is there, to take the high percentage shot. When you fall behind like this, it's tough to control the clock, which New Hampshire would also like to do in this game.
This is Cummins with the basketball, guarded by Peichel. New Hampshire 0-6, looking to get off the schneid against maybe the best team on their schedule. I asked Jim Boylan if he thought UConn was, and he said, ask me at the end of the season. He said, but it's either Providence or Boston College than UConn.
Oh, that's right. And New Hampshire's already played BC in Providence, BC to overtime at home.
This is Manor with the ball, 13 seconds on the shot clock, and Thielen is called for steps for the second time. Ron, talk about a revealing stat. New Hampshire averaging 22.8 turnovers per game.
Well, they've already done it in this game. They've probably got 5 or 6 turnovers already. A couple of steals by UConn, and a couple of just mental mistakes by New Hampshire with travel out of their half-court set.
There we see a new man in the lineup, James Ben out of Lockport, New York. He checks in for Niemeyer. Sellers misses the jump. Burrell rebounds in the lane, and it's pulled down underneath by Ben. Stolen by Burrell. UConn 10-0.
Nice hustle by Burrell to just stay after that one.
Burrell coming off a fabulous game, probably the best of his career against Maine. 19 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 steals, a school record.
He must have just had an outstanding game at Maine. And I think it's important for this
addition of UConn's team this year to have those kind of nights out of Scott Burrell, a fine athlete, and if he can put those kind of points on the board and those kind of steals, so aggressive, very important to the Huskies' success.
Sophomore Bryant Davis, number 4, into the lineup for the first time for New Hampshire, replacing Jeff Carr, pardon me, that's Carr with the jumper. So now it's some semblance of a 3-guard offense here for New Hampshire. Davis at 6'4" is the 3rd guard or small forward. And we'll get a foul here on, I believe, Cummins. So says Jackie Hannon. Oh, they're calling it the offensive, the reaching on Peichel. Okay, that's number 2 on Peichel, 4 on the club, and John Gwynn checks into the lineup for UConn, replacing Peichel. So now Chris Smith will move over to the point guard, and Gwynn at the 2-guard position.
It's really a quick UConn lineup out there now. The press should be effective, but that's where New Hampshire wants to attack. Get it to the middle. Thielen should turn there and try to take the ball to the foul line, see if they can score.
DePriest with yet another steal.
Oh my, no, not an opportunity to really get a good shot off so far for New Hampshire. A couple of attempts, nothing goes down.
This is John Gwynn, the 6-foot senior from Hillcrest Heights, Maryland. 1 for 14 from 3-point land thus far this year is Gwynn. Guarded by Cummins, takes him in the lane, scoops, misses the shot, but is fouled by Cummins. So Gwynn will get a couple from the line.
He finds a way, doesn't he? Get through there. John Gwynn, instant offense off the bench.
And Dan Cerulik will check back into the lineup. There we see the early shooting percentages. New Hampshire will get the score for 5 minutes and 29 seconds. Rod Sellers will sit out. So Cerulik at 7 foot will be in at center. And Gwynn will be at the free throw line, and this has been a real problem for the Huskies this year. Not so much Gwynn, who's shooting 64% from the line, which is a bit subpar for John. But as a team, Ron, 54%.
Yeah, that really is a very slow start for the Huskies from the line. They really should be up closer to 70% as a team, which is a good benchmark for your successful teams from the foul line, but clearly 54 is a struggle.
Gwynn makes them both 12-0 Huskies. We played 5.5 minutes. Cummins guarded by Smith, knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Smith, and New Hampshire will inbound.
New Hampshire, as we thought, is having a lot of trouble with the UConn pressure. Very casual with their passes.
Entry pass knocked away and out of bounds by DePriest. Just been all over the court. DePriest is probably UConn's best man-to-man defensive performer for Jim Calhoun.
Jim Calhoun demands defensive pressure. He wants the ball to go down the sideline, into the alleys, as he calls them, get the traps going.
This is Cummins, goes baseline, gives up his dribble, throws it up, rebound batted around, and last touch by Davis of New Hampshire. So it will be Huskies ball, already up 12. New Hampshire in the zone. Cerulik foul line jumper. 14-0 UConn.
Well, it's just all UConn right now, getting the shots that they want. New Hampshire just cannot find any kind of a key to get the ball down and score.
Davis double teamed. Cross-court pass deflected by Gwynn. Stolen by DePriest. Drives, gives Smith baseline. 16-0, and Jim Boylan wants another timeout. So with 13:35 to go in the first half, UConn leads New Hampshire by 16. We'll be back after these messages from our local station.
Commitments from a recruiting aspect from kids as far away as California, state of Washington, Arizona. It's made significant inroads nationally as a recruiting program, and I don't think there's any question about that. So I think it's had a tremendously positive effect overall on our basketball program.
You got some freaking flyer mileage, I'll tell you that much.
Well, one of the benefits of having such a successful year last year, you see the fruits coming with the freshmen for next year's program all over the country.
There is yet another steal for UConn following the New Hampshire timeout. Checking into that's 9 turnovers already unofficially for New Hampshire. And UConn converting 12 points off those turnovers in the early going.
That's the key. Getting the steals and then going down and scoring. New Hampshire trying different defenses. They're man-to-man now.
This is Burrell with the ball on the wing to Gwynn, who's guarded by a young man from Connecticut, Tommy McDonald, number 14. He's from Ridgefield. Only Connecticut product on this New Hampshire team. Cerulik with the jumper. Air ball rebound underneath Murray Williams, who's in the lineup for the first time. 6'6" senior from Torrington, Connecticut. We have played 7 minutes and 10 seconds, and New Hampshire has yet to get on the board. Has only attempted 3 shots.
Nice strip that time, though, by Bryant Davis.
This is McDonald, young man from Ridgefield. Went to Ridgefield High School, also spent a year at St. Thomas More Prep in Colchester, Connecticut. Underneath, McDonald gets the ball baseline, and his shot is blocked out of bounds by Murray Williams.
Well, that's just, you know, the bigger and quicker athletes that Connecticut has. You know, very revealing stat that New Hampshire only has, what, 3 shot attempts so far. They've been turning it over, and UConn's size is taking advantage inside. If New Hampshire has an opening like that, they've got to just pop the basketball before Connecticut can react.
Perry at the baseline to Ben at the low post. He misses. Thielen's tap no good, and Cyrulik with the rebound. And here come the Huskies, already up 16. Williams baseline.
Now the other thing with another new rule this year with television games, only 3 timeouts per team, and New Hampshire's already used 2 of the 3, so they've really got to just get it going out there.
This is Thielen in the lane. He spins, cross court to Ben, off his hands, stolen by Smith. He stops. He goes cross court off Burrell's shoulder, wasn't expecting it, and Thielen picks it up for the Wildcats.
Well, Thielen really has to get some things done for New Hampshire.
This is McDonald for 3. Rebound in the lane. Ben stripped by Smith.
Oh, good look.
Gwynn on the right. Shoots over Davis and the foul.
Wow, this is just the defense again. Chris Smith quicker to the basketball. New Hampshire a much slower team, and Gwynn, the body contact, able to finish off. Chance for a 3-point play, and it is all UConn. And to their credit, Bob, UConn is really staying with the intensity with just an incredible start to this game.
20-0 Huskies. Gwynn will try to make it the 3-point play. There you see John's per game average. John has yet to start a game in his varsity career, but he's averaging 26 minutes per game coming off the bench, and that's not going to change.
Oh, that's right. He'll finish a lot of games, though, this year. Clearly a key component to this year's team.
Smith takes a rest, so Katz in at point guard, along with Gwynn in the backcourt. Burrell, Cyrulik, and Williams up front. This is Bryant Davis with the ball for New Hampshire.
UConn with the 2-3 zone this time. I felt so important in this game for the UNH, the young team, to get off to a reasonable start, but this is their worst nightmare, falling behind like this.
Matter goes baseline, blocked by Cyrulik. Rebound bounced around into the hands of Katz. 2-on-2 break. Williams finds Gwynn on the baseline. His shot partially blocked. Cyrulik with the rebound.
Well, it is all UConn in every phase of the game. Defensively running the floor and now banging the backboards.
There you see the score. Numbers don't lie. We've almost played half of the first half, and New Hampshire has yet to get on the board.
Now, New Hampshire just really needs one to break the ice. This is incredible to go halfway through here without a basket, really even close.
McDonald misses the 3. Burrell rebounds. Gwynn in the forecourt. He drives. Nice strip by McDonald.
Push it, UNH. Try to get something off the break. Maybe get it to the goal, get to the foul line.
Davis misses the runner. Williams tries to control, but instead it winds up in New Hampshire's hands, only to be stolen by Gwynn. Katz. This is a 3 by Gwynn.
Now, we've already mentioned, you may say, you know, Jimmy Boylan should call a timeout, but he's already used up 2 of his 3 timeouts for this game, so New Hampshire just has to try to keep their poise out there. It's a young team, and this is really a demoralizing start for them.
Davis loses the ball to Burrell. Katz for the layup. And he's going to use that timeout right here. So, we have a timeout on the court. We have 9:42 remaining in the half, and UConn leads New Hampshire 28-0.
The 1990.
In your days at Holy Cross?
I can't remember too many dunks at all, Bob. Give me a trampoline, perhaps.
There we see the field goal percentages. Not only is it amazing that New Hampshire hasn't scored, but has only managed 10 shots. And not real good shots either.
Not at all. I mean, they've been turning it over, very tentative. Jimmy Boylan had to say, hey, guys, just forget the score. They still can't get it to go down. Go out there and play. We've used up all the timeouts, so just forget about the score and go out and play.
Gwynn misses the runner. Manor rebounds and then promptly knocks it off his own foot and out of bounds. A couple of new faces in the New Hampshire lineup. Shaft Lewis, 6'7" freshman from Springfield, Massachusetts. He's number 24. Doug Lang, 6'9" freshman from Huntington Woods, Michigan. He's 44. That's John Gwynn with the jumper. And this sounds incredible, but it's 30-0 UConn. And we played 11 minutes. Tommy McDonald for 3. Rebound in the lane is loose. And we will get a jump ball. And on the alternating possession arrow, it will be New Hampshire basketball. Beneath its own basket, Scott Burrell, Chris Smith back into the UConn lineup. John Gwynn will sit down, as will Murray Williams. Big East opener for both schools there at the DuPont Pavilion. Seton Hall by 1 at the half.
Always a good matchup. P.J. Carlissimo, Rolly Massimino. Another turnover by the Wildcats. Good pressure by Chris Smith.
Doug Lang loses the ball on the sideline.
Jimmy Boylan just can't believe it. He's got a young team, and this is really demoralizing. You know, to look out there and his kids haven't put a basket in 12 minutes into the game. No timeouts. It's just, you can't paint a much more dismal picture than this.
Sellers off the give and go to Burrell. In the lanes of DePriest. Fought for and pulled down by Lang. New Hampshire. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but after tonight, New Hampshire has 14 days off for final exam. There's a very poor shot taken by Perry. Long lead past the Cats. And it is 32-0 UConn.
And what's happening here is UConn scoring, not allowing New Hampshire to get out and potentially get a layup of their own. They're having to set each time. Connecticut, to their credit, is staying with the defensive pressure.
Shaft Lewis double teamed, and a reach-in foul will be called by referee Bob Madigan. Foul will be on Chris Smith. For Smitty, that is his first. Non-shooting situation. And New Hampshire will inbound beneath its own basket. After the 2-week layoff, New Hampshire will play the University of South Florida tournament. Off the inbound, Lang is fouled, and he will go to the line and hopefully can break the snot. Nobody likes to see this. This is very ugly. You look at the score, and it's the sort of score that UConn football coach Tom Jackson certainly wishes he could enjoy, you know, in the fall against the New Hampshire Grid Wildcats.
I'm not sure I've ever seen, Bob, a team come out and put this many points up with the opponent scoreless at this stage of the half.
Doug Lang, one of 5 freshmen on this New Hampshire ball club. And the nightmare continues. That, by the way, was his first free throw attempt of the year. And on that subject, New Hampshire did not go to the foul line in its loss to Monmouth in its last game before it.
That's also incredible. I have a feeling this one's going to go down by Lang. He stroked that last one up there pretty well. There it goes.
So the drought lasted 11 minutes and 48 seconds.
There's a steal by New Hampshire.
Perry, cross court to McDonald, the jumper. Rebounded by Chris Smith. So it's 32-1 UConn. DePriest drives, and he is fouled, I believe, by Manor. And Lyman will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple. The foul on Manor will be his first, and the third on the New Hampshire ball club.
Well, it's just a good pass down court, down the sideline, and DePriest wanted to go up and attempt to jam this thing, but got fouled by Pat Manor on the way.
Lyman DePriest, co-captain from Highland Park, Michigan. Averaging 4 per game, doing a great job coming off the bench. He's sort of the consummate role player, isn't he, Ron?
He really is. He comes off, he plays the defensive game for Jim Calhoun as you look at the New Hampshire bench. And you know, it's difficult to look at your teammates out there where you've got off to this kind of a start in the game, and they've got to just not look up at that scoreboard at all and just try to forget about it and get out there and play, you know, the last, 27 minutes of this game.
DePriest misses them both. 7:50 remaining in the half. McDonald drives baseline, loses it to DePriest. A 2-0 with Gillard Cats.
Oh my! Nice dunk, huh? Connecticut just outrunning New Hampshire now.
Perry's shot is blocked out of bounds by DePriest. Last touch by UConn, so it will be New Hampshire ball. Murray Williams checks back in for UConn, and I'm sure once we get into the second half, we're going to see Jim Calhoun empty that gun.
Oh, I'm sure we will. John Perry, very aggressive. spunky player for New Hampshire. I saw him coming out of that third timeout by Jim Boylan, and he really was gritting his teeth, but physically, he just got really an overmatched situation here with the Connecticut athletes versus New Hampshire.
Perry trapped at the baseline, knocked out of bounds by Burrell, so it will be New Hampshire ball. Jeff Carr back in the New Hampshire lineup. Jim Calhoun has reinserted Steve Peichel at point guard, replacing Katz. Cross-court pass saved by Carr. This is Manor. Starts the drive. Runner blocked by Williams. Peichel cannot save. Speaking of Jeff Carr, it's a young man from Hartford who had a fine career here at UConn by the same name. Played against you, didn't he, Ron?
Yes, he did. Matter of fact, with a game at the Boston Garden, he scored at the buzzer. UConn had the ball, had to go full court with 1 second left, and Jeff Carr scored.
Murray Williams takes the full court pass, lays it in, and UConn now leads it 36-1 with 7 minutes to go in the half.
You know, and thinking about that, Bob, it was in they called the Colonial Classic in those days, and UConn had to score and tie the game with 1 second left full court. A little bit reminiscent of the great play last year with Scott Burrell throwing to Tate George in the great win against Clemson.
Rod Sellers rebounds the missed shot by James Ben, gives to Peichel. Wide open, Scotty Burrell. And that will be goaltending.
If the ball is on part of the rim or above the cylinder with a chance to go down, it's offensive goaltending.
So that goaltending call on Lang of New Hampshire, 38-1 UConn, 6:30 to go in the half.
Connecticut in the zone. Perry's going to try to line up along with Manor for the perimeter shot.
Manor misses the three, rebounded in the lane by Lang, and he hits the turnaround. So that's New Hampshire's first field goal, and it took 13 minutes and 20 seconds to get it.
And the freshman Doug Lang with all 3 of the points.
Peichel drives, and he is fouled. So Steve will be going to the free throw line to shoot a couple. And we are seeing Mark Sewer, always a crowd favorite for UConn. 7-footer from Cologne, Germany. Played his high school ball at South Lake Tahoe High School in California. He comes in for Rod Sellers. Not sure Mark has ever found himself in a game this early, Ron.
I remember an outstanding game that Mark Sewer had. Not sure if it was last year or the year before, where he came off the bench for Jim Calhoun at Villanova and actually played very well, rejecting shots and scoring inside. But again, I think it was midway through the second half, Bob, when he even got into the game.
So the one Achilles heel for UConn, or one of them at least through the first 5 games, continues to bother them here, and that is the free throw shooting, as Peichel misses the first.
In a game like this, it's important for Connecticut, too, to continue to work on the fundamental things that are important to their success. And to UConn's credit, they've played steady basketball in this first half, haven't let themselves get real sloppy.
Steve Peichel had been 4 for 4 from the line for the first 5 games. Running one-hander, no good by Lewis, rebounded by Burrell. 6 minutes left. UConn by 36. Here's Sewer, down low. Kicks it out to Peichel. Down low to Sewer again. And he'll be called for an over the back on the rebound. Mark very popular among the faithful here at the Gamble Pavilion. And UConn is over the limit, so Jim Boylan's Wildcats will be shooting 1-1. I'd like to remind you one of the new rules in college basketball this year. As always, when one team commits its 7th personal foul, the opposition will shoot 1-1. But once you commit a 10th team foul, the opposition will shoot 2 for the remainder of the game.
We haven't seen it yet tonight, but on the 3-point field goal attempt, if the shooter is fouled, it will be, and the shot is missed, it will be 3 foul shots now from the charity stripe.
Shaft Lewis at the free throw line makes the first. He's a 6'7" freshman from Springfield, Massachusetts. Played scholastically at the Berkshire School, so he makes them both. 39-5 UConn, 5:40 left in the half.
I understand that Shaft is his real first name.
Indeed. This is Smith, guarded by Carr, kicks it out to Burrell for the jumper. Burrell fights for the rebound. Who touched it last? Tim Higgins said Scott Burrell did, so it will be New Hampshire basketball.
Good hustle by Pat Manor that time. We talked about Pat off the top of the show, and Pat has not gotten under the scoring column yet, and he's the team's leading scorer. We really thought that Manor and Thielen and John Perry really had to come out and hit a few shots early to get New Hampshire into the flow, and clearly that has not been the case.
This is Cummins, 22 with the ball over to Lewis, started by Sewer. On the left card, nice entry pass down low to Lang. Blocked by Sewer, but fouled from the other side by Murray Williams. So Lang once again will go to the line to shoot a couple. Second foul on Murray Williams. New Hampshire playing in the North Atlantic Conference. Jim Boylan's Wildcats will play home and home games with the 5 other teams in that conference: Maine, Vermont, Boston University, Northeastern, and the University of Hartford. This one of 3 Big East opponents. UConn is. Boston College and Providence the other 2. Lang makes the first, so he's 2 of 3 from the line.
And of course, New Hampshire's already played BC and Providence, so the 3 Big East opponents early in the schedule with a young team. 7 freshmen and sophomores on this year's club, 3 juniors. So getting off to a start like this clearly has gotten the team off on the wrong foot. So hopefully by the time they play their North Atlantic opponents, they'll be able to notch a couple of victories.
So Lang makes them both, 39-7 Huskies. 4:50 left. Sewer down low, jump hook, and rebound pulled down by Lang. Lang's done a pretty good job off the boards.
He really has, and offensively he's mixed it up inside. Got a couple of good things done.
And he takes the foul line jumper, rebounded by Shaft Lewis. He falls to the floor and will be called for steps. After tonight, UConn will take 10 days off for final exams and return against Fairfield on December 23rd. That will be a 1 p.m. start at the Hartford Civic Center. And then it's on to the Connecticut Mutual Classic. Opening round game will be against Lafayette. Down low, Sewer.
That's a very nice feed in the lane, and Sewer able to finish up down low. The crowd enjoying it.
First 2 points of the season for Mark. He's a junior, so he'll have one more year after this one. Matter with a nice running one-hander with the left, so he finally gets on the board. Long lead pass to Smith, ahead of the field.
Just as quickly as that, UConn answers. Matter just about to comment, averaging 10 a game with a nice runner. See UConn, though, a much quicker, stronger team. Really taking advantage in this first half.
Huskies sitting back in the 2-3 zone. Manor outside the car for the 3. Rebound, Lang inside. And his shot is partially blocked, but a foul will be called. Either on Williams or Sewer. It will be Murray Williams. I think that's 3 on Murray, so he's the first player in any kind of personal foul trouble. 9 on the club, so Lang will shoot a couple. And the next time UConn commits a foul, New Hampshire will be in that situation we mentioned before, where everything will be a 2-shot situation. 43-9, Huskies by 34 points. Matt Niemeyer returns to the lineup. Let's correct that. That is not James Bennett at the free throw line. Doug Lang is 44. He'll get another. No good. Rebound batted around and controlled by Gilad Katz. Back in for the Huskies. He pushes it up the floor. 3:40 left in the half. Scott Burrell to Williams. Down low, Cerulik. Murray Williams with the jumper. Rebound batted around, controlled by Cerulik. He goes up and is fouled, and Cerulik will go to the line and shoot a couple.
That's good ball movement by the Huskies that time. Cerulik down low, and always a good sight when the pivot man is doubled up in there to work the ball back out, and that time he was able to sweep it off the glass.
Eric Thielen back in the lineup for New Hampshire, 6'6" senior from Wayland, Massachusetts. Eric entering tonight's ball game with 832 career points, so he has a great opportunity to become only the 5th player in New Hampshire history to surpass the 1,000 point mark and 500 rebound mark in his career. Already has 588 career rebounds.
Plus, he originally started on the squad as a walk-on. So he's really done a nice job, led the team in rebounding the last 3 years.
Another crowd favorite, Oliver Macklin, 6'3" sophomore from Notre Dame High School in Fairfield. Lives in Bridgeport, Connecticut. He goes into the lineup. Cerulik made the first. He'll get another. Makes that one. Timeout on the floor. 3:32 to go in the half, and UConn leads 45-10. Sewer, a crowd favorite, gets his maiden points of the season.
Peichel with the nice penetrating spin move from the foul line, and a beautiful dish by Burrell, getting it over there to Sir, and he's able to finish off. That's good passing by the Huskies.
There we see the rather unimpressive numbers for the Wildcats tonight.
Well, UNH just came out and played very tentatively tight, turned the ball over, couldn't get any shots off, and just got themselves out of this game before they could get anything positive going.
New face in the lineup for New Hampshire, number 10, Chris O'Connor, 6'2" sophomore from Seattle. He takes the three. Rebound knocked out of Burrell's hands. Niemeyer connects for the Wildcats, his first two.
Another freshman. Pressure now by New Hampshire. 1-2-1-1 pressure.
And Gwynn loses the ball, gets it right back. Looks like a pinball machine in there.
He does play low to the ground, doesn't he?
Burrell drives, nice left hand.
It is the quickness. UConn just really leaving New Hampshire that time with Burrell's athletic ability.
O'Connor guarded by Katz, each wearing number 10. Actually, UConn in a 1-3-1 zone.
Yeah, Jim Calhoun continues to mix up the defenses.
Lewis, baseline jumper, rebound Scott Burrell. 3-on-2 if they hurry, and Gwynn always does.
Well, he comes out of the locker room with his arm cocked and ready to shoot it. And quite often the results just like that for John Gwynn.
12 points for John Gwynn off the bench in the early going. 49-12 Huskies, 2:10 left in the half.
UConn extending now the 1-3-1.
This is Thielen, baseline.
Should be able to swing the basketball.
Lewis out to O'Connor. Jeff Carr, O'Connor. Lewis shoots over Gwynn. Rebound, Oliver Macklin. Katz gives to Cerulik at the foul line, takes the pass back, kicks it out to Gwynn, who drives, hits the bottom of the backboard, gets it back himself, and by golly, he draws the foul.
Well, it seemed like he paused under the basket for a couple of minutes, and Jim Boylan's just looking at his players saying, hey, you got to go after him there. Don't just watch him. There's Gwynn under the basket, pausing, drawing the foul.
Here we see it again.
Everyone just standing there saying, hey, is he out of bounds? What's going on?
Checking into the lineup for UConn as Gwynn will shoot a couple. Freshman Sean Ellison, 6'7", out of Farmington High School, lives in Hartford. Only freshman on the UConn team. Gwynn, 13 points, 4 for 4 from the line. Makes them both. So UConn has gone over the half-century mark with 1:30 left in the half. Jeff Carr gives to O'Connor. This time Huskies in a 2-3 zone.
New Hampshire could just skip the ball cross court, get the wide open one. Nice move by Shaft.
So Lewis with the jumper, and off the inbound pass, it's knocked out of bounds by New Hampshire. So we have 1:09 to go in the half. And it is UConn in a blowout as Jim Boylan brought his club down here, about a 3.5-hour drive this afternoon.
It's a tough night for Jim Boylan, too. He's just got to try to keep his kids positive. You say, what do you say at halftime to your kids? You go in there and say, hey, it's over. Let's go out and try to play a new second half because this first half just got away from us.
Macklin with the basketball, guarded by Thielen. That's an interesting matchup there. Thielen is about 3.5 inches taller than Ollie.
Man-to-man defense.
20 seconds left in the shot clock. 40 left in the game clock. Katz gets the nice screen from Cerulik. Jumper by Macklin. Rebounded underneath by Lewis. So the shot clock is off. We have a half minute to go in the half. Pass inside to Thielen, right through his hands and stolen by Macklin. Let's see if UConn plays for one. Katz, guarded by O'Connor, gives to Macklin. 15 seconds left.
This is where it's important for Connecticut to still execute.
Cerulik to Gwynn for three. Off the front of the rim. Rebounded by Lewis. 3 seconds left in the half.
Shoot it.
And he does not get it off. So we have played the first 20 minutes here at the Gamble Pavilion, and Jim Boylan's New Hampshire Wildcats are in deep trouble. At halftime, UConn 51, New Hampshire 14. We shall return to the Gamble Pavilion after these messages from our local station. Carr committing the personal. Carr, a 6'4" junior out of Tilton Prep in Rochester, New Hampshire, one of 4 New Hampshire products on this Wildcats ball club. And UConn will inbound beneath its own basket. Murray Williams to do the honors. Gives to Smith. Down low to Priest. Baseline runner. Rebound Sellers. Nice block underneath by Lang, or make that Niemeyer with the block. Carr starts the break, stops and pops. Rebound controlled by Williams of UConn. Smith ahead of the field to DePriest, deflected by Manor, and then DePriest put up the shot anyway, and it goes out of bounds off Lyman, so it will be New Hampshire ball.
That brought Jim Calhoun up out of his seat. Not at all happy with the execution on that break.
Well, of course, it's awfully difficult to try to convince your team to keep up the intensity in a situation like this, but that's what Jim is paid handsomely to do.
That's right. That's exactly what he talked about at halftime. Forget about that score. You're putting this one away. Just keep playing hard out there.
Burrell misses the reverse layup, but he is fouled and will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple. Jim Calhoun, the Big East Coach of the Year, winner of the Associated Press National Coach of the Year, and a bevy of others for his work last year. 31 wins, most in school history. Shared the Big East regular season title with Syracuse. First time UConn ever did that. Won the Big East tournament. First time the Huskies ever did that.
A lot of firsts.
We're ranked number 3 in the final regular season ending Associated Press poll. Got a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament in the East Regional. Went to the Final 8 and within a Christian Laettner runner of making it to the Final 4 again.
Remember it well. Some kind of a dream season for the Huskies, and I think one of the trademarks of Jim Calhoun is that he himself is a very intense guy.
You know,
he's not letting up at all on the bench, and he won't let up at all on his players. Because anytime you go out there to play, a couple of players stepping into the lane, we'll see a whistle on that one. You've got to play hard for 40 minutes regardless of the score. You don't see Jim Calhoun sort of slouching back in his chair in this one, although he's still got the coat on.
Jim obviously not pleased with the team's free throw shooting this year, but he says, hey, it's not for a lack of practice. He said they've actually have attempted more free throws in practice in their normal routines this year than ever before. And in all kinds of situations, you know, you try to simulate game conditions.
Nice pass.
Niemeyer, blocked by Burrell.
Oh, good timing.
Perry stripped in the lane. This is Williams, 5-on-4 break. Scott Burrell lays it off. Maybe one pass too many. Knocked out of bounds by New Hampshire.
Yeah, definitely was. Got to get that one up to the goal. Burrell was out ahead of the pack. It's just a great pass there. Niemeyer unable to connect with a great block by Burrell, and it was off to the races for Connecticut.
On the inbound pass, deflected and stolen away by James Ben. Up the floor, Perry kicks it out to Manor. Nice strip by DePriest. And a reach-in foul will be called against UConn.
I think it's DePriest with the hack.
And it is. Number 2 on Lyman. Second on the club here in the second half. We played 2 minutes and 10 seconds. UConn leads New Hampshire by 38 points. Steve Peichel checks into the lineup for UConn, and there's Jeff Calhoun, the younger of Jim and Pat Calhoun's 2 sons, a senior at E.O. Smith High School in Storrs, ranked by the Hartford Courant as the 24th best high school senior in the state. This will be an offensive foul call on New Hampshire.
James Ben with the push-off.
James Boylan with the look of disbelief.
Not happy with that call. Perhaps under the circumstances. Didn't think that one should have been called.
Baseline, Murray Williams. Pass out to Burrell in front of the UConn bench. This is Peichel. Steve has already graduated from UConn, but had that 1 year of eligibility left and wanted to use it. Sellers inside is hammered by Niemeyer. And Rod will go to the line and shoot a couple.
Good penetration here by Connecticut. Steve Peichel with the penetration, and something New Hampshire hasn't done is gone to that bounce pass. So tough to stop that one. Sellers with the hatchet. Bob, I can remember playing high school basketball in Boston. We had probably 6 of the league games were tough ones, and a couple of teams we knew going in we'd beat them by 25, 30 points. And one of those games really kind of laying back, and we won by 30 easily and just kind of coasted, and the coach pulling me aside saying, hey, anytime we go out and play. It's a 2-point game or 30. Got to go at it hard. You work hard in practice all the time. That's really what the Connecticut players have to say tonight. Don't put it into cruise control here in the second half. Go out and play hard and just forget about the score and get it done.
Manor drives, and the shot is blocked by Burrell, but Tim Higgins is going to say that Scott got him with the body. So Manor will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple. And going to the free throw line has been a big problem for New Hampshire thus far this year. As we mentioned, in Wildcats' last game before this one, they lost to Monmouth 49-47, and in 40 minutes of basketball, I'm not sure I've ever heard of this before, Ron, they didn't attempt one free throw.
That's incredible. I was talking to Jim Boylan before the game, and the game was played in Monmouth's home court in New Jersey, and said the referees were patting the opposing coach on the back before the game. He said, I'm not sure we're going to get too many calls, but didn't expect to not go to the line at all.
Manor makes 1 of 2 from the line. He's 1 for 4 tonight, and off the inbound pass, some full court pressure applied, and a personal foul will be called on James Ben of New Hampshire.
This is not a New Hampshire team, though, that really, goes at the basket. They've got a lot of guys that like to pull up and take jump shots, so even in this game, they're not really penetrating a lot to create the situations where you're at the line.
This is Williams. He stops, and his shot will be partially blocked by Ben, who picks up yet another foul. I think that's 3 quick ones on the 6'8 junior from Lockport, New York. Played scholastically at Maine Central Institute, so he shall sit down. And checking into the lineup will be Doug Lang, 6'9 freshman from Huntington Woods, Michigan. There goes Ben.
I thought Maury Williams caught a break there, too, going up, leaving his feet with nowhere to go. Fortunate to get fouled. Williams is really moving a lot better. Seems to have shaken off the effects of the ankle sprain.
Murray's really been plagued by injuries throughout his UConn career. And started off this year by having an ankle injury the week before the season opener against Charleston. Makes 1 of 2 here, so UConn now up 55-17. We played 3 minutes second half. Down low Lang, he spins on Sellers, and his shot is blocked by Burrell. Williams picks up the loose ball. Michael on the right. Hands to Burrell, and as he drives, there will be a reach-in foul called on New Hampshire. We're going to call on Manor. That will be his second. Would you believe New Hampshire's over the limit, Ron, after 3 minutes and 12 seconds?
I think I'm about to believe anything in this game.
And again,
a lot of opportunities for Connecticut from the line, but
new rule,
perhaps
after 10, you shoot 2.
Perhaps the one area, though, where Connecticut has struggled.
And Burrell struggles here. Here's Smith with the steal, one-on-one with Perry. He spins, he lays it up, he lays it in, and he's fouled.
Count it. You get the impression that Chris Smith just turn it on and go by people and take over whenever he wants to with a great spin move in here. John Perry tries to really mug him going into the goal to no avail.
For those of you who are wondering, there will not be a record set tonight for the fewest points by a UConn opponent. In the 1919-1920 season, the Huskies beat Wentworth Institute 71-6.
Ooh, it was a long night for Wentworth Institute.
It's been a long night for the Wildcats, including the Wildcats. This is Jeff Carr with the basketball. UConn still applying that aggressive defense. Up by 41 points. In the lane, Niemeyer spins on Cerulik. Knocked loose by Smith. Gets it back. Knocked off a foot, Cerulik's foot. So it will be New Hampshire ball. 22 seconds left on the shot clock.
It's a case where Niemeyer, the freshman, you got to make your quick move in there and go up and power it, or give the ball up, make a strong move to get the ball back. Just can't hold on to it, though, and hesitate.
This is Manor. He gets the screen, throws up the 3. Rebound baseline. Nice job by Smith. Didn't have the rebounding position, but controlled it to himself. Peichel off the break to Williams. Down low, Cerulik. Jump hook. Nice touch.
Let the roll. Cerulik has really improved his offensive moves.
Entry pass stolen by Burrell. Two-handed pass up the floor to Williams. Williams to Cerulik off his hands to Matt.
Calhoun really unglued by that result.
Jim didn't like that one.
He wants execution all the way here.
This is Perry, guarded by Piper. A couple of number 21s. Gives up the dribble.
Can't do it. You can't give your dribble up 25 feet from the goal.
And Niemeyer proceeds to do the same thing. He hands the car. Pass in the lane to Manor, tripped up by Cerulik while seated on the floor. And Dan Cerulik will be called for the personal foul.
This play is really getting sloppy now. New Hampshire not in any kind of an offensive formation that time, and both teams get to talk it over here.
Timeout on the floor, 15:39 remaining in this one, and UConn leads New Hampshire by 43. Telecast is produced by authority of the Big East Conference and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Big East Conference is prohibited. And I doubt we'll catch Jim Boyle violating that tonight. Huh, Ron?
I don't think so. May not want to review the tape of this game. Connecticut showing some 2-3 zone.
This is Tom McDonald, number 14. The lineup for New Hampshire. He's the young man from Ridgefield, Connecticut, 6'4" senior. He'll throw up the three. Gets his own rebound, drives, and will be called for the charge.
Well, when it rains, it pours. Tommy McDonald, last thought there was to shoot the ball, and then just crashes into Cerulik.
Second half score in Big East contest tonight at the DuPont Pavilion, visiting Seton Hall, leading Villanova by 5. The Big East opener for each club. Georgetown in non-league play, rolling over St. Leo's at the Cap Center by 30.
That's an annual romp for John Thompson.
Cerulik has a shot partially blocked by Lang and knocked out of bounds, last touched by UConn. Jim Calhoun holding court there with Howie Dickenman, assistant to Jim's left, Dave Lato to his right. Dave, of course, played for Jim at Northeastern.
Glenn Miller in the shot.
Here's a steal by Murray Williams ahead of the field. Thielen hammers him, so Murray will go to the line to shoot a couple. Hey, Glenn Miller actually started his career here at UConn. Young man from Fitch High School in Groton, Connecticut, then transferred to Northeastern, finished up there under Jim, and was obviously a teammate of Dave Lato. And both Glenn Miller and Dave Lato came to UConn with Jim, so all three of them in their 5th year. Howie Dickenman was from the previous regime under Don Perno. Howie in his 9th year as an assistant. Dickenman and Lato, they do a little traveling during the early recruiting season.
Had a chance to talk to Dave about the recruits for next year, which everyone's so excited about, and he has definitely logged some frequent flyer miles across the country.
Well, the recruits they landed are from Phoenix, Arizona, Federal Way, Washington, Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles, California, and Jacksonville, Florida. They missed the Midwest somehow.
From all over. A lot of good athletes. The one consistent theme with all the players is good athlete. Can press, really gets after it defensively, can run, can jump, so you clearly can get a sense of the kind of players that Jim Calhoun wants in the program that can get out there and press, really get after people defensively. And again, we talked about it, but the great season last year for UConn, the dividends really paying off.
The free throw woes continue for UConn. Murray Williams misses them both. New Hampshire.
Nice pass.
Down low to Lang, cuts through the lane, partially blocked by Cerulik. Rebound fought for. Shaft Lewis controls for New Hampshire, then throws it away.
Nice hustle. John Perry, one of the more aggressive players on New Hampshire with the diving effort from midcourt. That's a pretty good sign when you're trailing by 40 plus in a game. John Perry, if you're just joining us, playing a wide receiver on the football team, keeps that one alive.
And he almost ran over another former football player. Lyman DePriest was an outstanding football player at Highland Park High School, a Detroit suburb.
Tight end.
Yep. Here we see the shooting story. New Hampshire, if nothing else, is consistent. 13% in each half. Cats with the steal. John Gwynn back in the UConn lineup. He came off the bench to lead the Huskies in scoring with 14 in the first half. We played 6 minutes second half. Burrell with the jumper. And the rebound yanked down by Lang. Perry, lead pass ahead of the field to McDonald. Tries to save. Instead, it's Cats. 3-on-2. UConn break. Gwynn with the left. And the foul.
Now, Connecticut just a step ahead of New Hampshire with all of these plays, and as a result, now scoring, and New Hampshire committing a lot of personal fouls.
So Gwynn will go to the line and try to complete the three-point play. Bob Cummins, 6'2" junior from Bethesda, Maryland, checking into the lineup for New Hampshire. He replaces Perry. Perry, a walk-on from the football team.
Second game with the team. He's only played 3 before tonight. Came out and got 21 against Manhattan. Bombed in 5 3-pointers.
So Gwynn completes the three-point play, and UConn leads by 46, its biggest margin of the night. It sounds ludicrous. McDonald tries the 3. He's had a tough night shooting. Burrell with the rebound. Up the floor to Peichel. Mark Suhr back in the lineup for UConn. 7-foot junior from Germany. Burrell starts the drive, loses the handle. Suhr controls, kicks it out to Peichel. So lots of time left on the shot clock, 25 seconds.
Jim Calhoun over there saying, hey, run the offense. Let's just execute out here.
Gwynn with the scoop.
Oh, nice move. Slithering through there.
It is hard to imagine that any school in the country has a guard who can come off the bench and do what Gwynn does.
Well, he could start. He clearly could start for this team, but Jim Calhoun feels the spark that he provides off the bench is more important. And clearly, when Smith and Gwynn are out there in the backcourt, even though you've got Smith handling the ball, that's an explosive backcourt. Look at this power move by Gwynn between 3 or 4 Wildcat defenders, just really standing there watching him at the end.
Gwynn, one of 3 Huskies on the All-Big East tournament team last March for the Huskies. In succession, knocked off Seton Hall, Georgetown, and Syracuse for the title. Here's DePriest, and I think we may see a slam.
Good prediction.
Let us make that our early nomination for the Dunkin' Donut Dunk of the Week.
Give a 9 on that
Are
one.
we allowed to make such nominations? 50-point Husky lead. Inside, stolen by Burrell, knocked out, last touch by Burrell. And it will be New Hampshire ball. Boy, these fans don't let up.
They really don't.
They want the ball.
Yeah, the student body here, Gamble Pavilion. Great
What a facility, huh?
Great college facility. It's here for the first one last year, the St. John's win.
Thielen in the lane is fouled. John Gwynn, as we saw on our screen a moment ago, outscoring the entire New Hampshire team, 19-17, through the first 38 minutes of this one. There's Mr. Gwynn out of rather noted high school, at least for basketball prowess, DeMatha High School, located in Hyattsville, Maryland. What a great job Morgan Wooten has done there over the years. And John, believe it or not, the first ever DeMatha product to play for a Big East school. And John Gwynn has already achieved a career high, and he's only been in for 13 minutes tonight.
So if you track points per minute played, he'd definitely be last year and this year right at the top of the ledger in the country.
Well, this year he's averaging about a point for every 2 minutes.
Thielen not on the scoring column, and he's averaging just under 10 a game, second leading scorer on the team.
This is Carr, poked away by Katz and out of bounds. So we have a timeout on the floor, 11:58 to go in this one. And UConn leads New Hampshire by 50. We'll be back after these messages from our local station. Decisive with his shooting.
High percentage. Pretty. Lyman is a fine athlete. Really gets up and is at the nice cock behind the head. Nice to be able to get up there with that kind of spring. I wouldn't know about that.
Poker face. Lyman DePriest. In fact, his teammates nickname him Penitentiary Face.
He does have the game look all the time.
Blocked by Suhr. Gorgeous block on Manor. Katz to DePriest on the wing. Nice fake. Poor pass, though. Stolen by Carr. This is Thielen. Oliver Macklin guarding him. He returned to the lineup. Cross-court pass knocked out of bounds by New Hampshire, who has scored just 3 points this half. Mark Suhr with a nice block here, Ron.
He just gets up and goes straight up, which is the nice part of it, and he keeps the ball in play. You're a big guy watching this ball game. Don't swat it out of bounds. Keep it in play, start the fast break, and go down and try to score. Great play by the big fella.
Took New Hampshire 11 minutes and 48 seconds to get its first point in the first half. Through 9 minutes here in the second half, the Wildcats have just 3. Macklin misses the jumper. Soar rebounds. Points 3 and 4 for Soar. And the lead is 52. DePriest with the rebound.
Okay, some of these shots from the perimeter by New Hampshire just don't have a chance.
This is Gwynn, who's already tied his career high with 19. Soar down low, turnaround. Misses the shot, but he'll get the foul. Before tonight, Mark Soar had played just 11 minutes this season and had not scored. Thus far tonight, he's got 4, and he'll go to the free throw line. And listen to the crowd. This is for Mark Soar. There's the scoring situation.
It hasn't gotten any better for New Hampshire.
This will be Soar's first free throw attempt of the season.
Good opportunity for these players for UConn, really for both clubs. Everyone getting into the act. Soar could see some important minutes for UConn this year. Get in here and mix it up tonight. Pretty pumped up.
This the second one. Mark was the first 7-footer in UConn history, and then when Dan Cirola grew an inch between his freshman and sophomore year, he became the second. 69-17 UConn as we approach the midway point of the second. 2-3 Husky zone. Carr cross court to Manor. He drives. Oh, and it's rejected by Soar. Katz on the break.
Nice pass.
Trailer. Gwynn.
Excellent penetration by Katz, and again, Sir keeping that ball in play, starting the fast break.
Career high, 21 points for John Gwynn.
Crowd staying in this one.
Nobody's left. Carr for 3. Manor down low to Niemeyer. He spins and he's stripped by Gwynn. 2-on-2 break if they hurry with Katz. Nice drive and a scoop.
That's a pretty shot. Katz is a southpaw, but able to get in there and use the English. Splitting the defenders. Connecticut in the 2-3, and New Hampshire with the openings from the perimeter, but just unable to get anything to go down.
Manor with the jumper. Goes halfway home and comes out. Niemeyer rebound. Thielen rebound. Blocked underneath by DePriest. Gwynn with the basketball. Macklin drives baseline and lays it in.
Nice penetrating move by Macklin. I thought that the Huskies may come down and just set their offense, but Macklin saw the big opening. If you're just joining us, New Hampshire used all 3 of their timeouts. They got off to such a bad start in this one. They used them up early, so they don't have any left.
58-point Connecticut lead with 8:40 to go. New Hampshire hasn't scored in 9 minutes and 40 seconds before Bob Cummins breaks the drought with that jumper. 4th and 5th points of the half for the Wildcats. Gwynn goes baseline. Outside to Katz. Scott Burrell, Chris Smith watching this one comfortably from the bench. We may or may not see them again tonight. DePriest off the give and go. A little misconnection, and it goes out of bounds. Last touch by the Huskies. Wholesale substitutions for UConn. Steve Peichel in. Sean Ellison, the freshman from Hartford, in. Replacing Katz and DePriest. For New Hampshire, Manor, Carr, and Cummins all leave. John Perry back in the lineup, along with Bryant Davis, number 4, 6'4" sophomore from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. We saw him in the first half. And Shaft Lewis, 6'7" freshman out of Springfield.
Chapel Hill, home of University of North Carolina.
Air ball by Lewis. Davis gets the rebound. Outside, Thielen for 3. And by golly, he hits it. First 3 of the night for New Hampshire.
That's Thielen's first points as well.
Steal in the lane by Lewis. Perry stops, takes a 3, misses the shot. Rebounded down low, Lewis. Fought for underneath Lewis again, and a reach-in foul, I think, on Ollie Macklin.
Sir, one of them. Good effort by New Hampshire that time off the boards. Long night for Jimmy Boylan.
Foul will be on Soar. And we have a timeout on the floor with 7:32 to go in this one. UConn leads New Hampshire 75-22. Back after these local messages. How about that guy?
Now, he's playing a great game. He certainly would be leading on the ballots at this point with 21 off the bench tonight. Really been explosive as usual.
Bryant Davis feeds down low to Lewis. Good idea. But Lewis just wasn't in position for the pass, so a turnover. New Hampshire unofficially 7 for 48 from the floor. They went 11.5 minutes without a point in the first half, 9 minutes and 40 seconds in the second half. This is Ellison, number 32. He's the freshman from Hartford.
I say good opportunity for him to get some minutes tonight.
He's somewhat of a project, excellent athlete. Did not play in a terribly competitive league in high school.
Now this will be good. He'll probably get the final run here for 7 minutes.
And Jim Calhoun, who wants to talk things over. So we have a timeout on the floor with 6 minutes and 58 seconds to go in the ball game. And UConn leads New Hampshire 75-22. Minutes remaining in the ball game. At the free throw line for New Hampshire will be Bryant Davis, 6'4" sophomore from Chapel Hill. Entering tonight's ball game, leading the team in assists with 18. And he'll get a couple right here. UNH unofficially with just 2 assists in this ball game. And Davis misses the front end of the 1-and-1. So UConn with the ball and a 53-point lead. This is Gwynn. Previous career high of 18 against Boston College, surpassed tonight. Did that last season against the Eagles. Up the floor, Davis. This is Shaft Lewis, freshman from Springfield. And the rebound yanked down by Sean Ellison, who then manages to save to Steve Peichel.
There he is.
Ellison fakes left, passes to Williams along the baseline, gives to Soar. His shot is blocked out of bounds by Davis. Mark's 7 feet tall, but he has to learn that you have to leave the floor before you want to take a shot like that.
Yeah, Andor release it a little bit more quickly. Nice swing pass. I was saying there it is because I could see Ellison wide open on the weak side. New Hampshire playing some man defense.
This is Michael. Nice screen set up by Soar. Cross court to Williams. Outside to Gwynn. For the 3. Rebound. Loose in the corner. Lewis controls. He's double teamed and he's fouled. Now they're saying no foul.
Just blue ball is all I'm hearing. I don't see any foul called.
This is the one-hander taken by James Mann along the baseline. 5:40 to go. After tonight, UConn will host Fairfield in Hartford on December 23rd. Ellison drives, loses the handle, gets it back, and gets fouled. So he will go to the line for the first time in his collegiate career.
Then it'll be the Connecticut Mutual Classic for the Huskies.
Right, they play Lafayette in the opener. And there's a final.
Oh, big win for
Seton Hall with a big road win.
Yeah, at the DuPont Pavilion on the campus of Villanova. That's a good win for Seton Hall. Terry DeHare.
Second Big East game of the season. In the opener last night, Boston College held on to beat Providence. UConn will open its Big East season against Boston College on January 2nd. You'll see that game right here on WTNH, 8 o'clock.
Much improved BC team this year with Bill Curley, the much sought after freshman center at 6'10", a trio of freshman backcourt players. Really good start for Jimmy O'Brien's club.
Ellison makes 1 of 2 from the line for his 3rd point of his varsity career. 76-22 UConn.
Bryant Davis with the ball, most improved player on last year's squad, led the team in assists.
This is McDonald, the freshman from Ridgefield, to Davis. Has trouble controlling. Gets a screen from Lewis. Cross court to McDonald. He goes baseline and has it knocked out of bounds by Peichel. So New Hampshire ball, 23 seconds left on the shot clock.
One of the concerns for Jim Boylan would be, with a young team like this, a game, you know, getting blown out this badly can really be demoralizing. I think the best thing to do is just tell them, best they can. Wipe it out. Never happened. Or it did happen and just put it away because it's not going to be productive to think about this playing the next games on their schedule.
Lewis tapping in the missed one-hander by Ben. 76-24 UConn, 4:50 left. Of course, it will be final exam time for both of these universities next week, so maybe that comes at a good time. The students have to think about other things anyway.
Yes and no. Sometimes when you've had a bad game, I don't recall one being blown out quite by this magnitude, Bob, but sometimes it's better to get back and play a game right away, and just that way, that's the last thing on your mind as opposed to waiting 2 weeks to play.
Mark Soar leaves. Receives a nice warm ovation from the crowd here at the Gamble Pavilion. This facility opened last January 27th. UConn beat St. John's that night, and this will be the Huskies' 8th win in 8 attempts here at this building, not counting an exhibition loss to Marathon.
It hasn't been easy for opponents to really play either here or at the Stores Fieldhouse since UConn's been in Big East play. I'm not sure, it's about 50 wins in a row, isn't it, for UConn?
Yeah, UConn
This will make it 50.
49-0 in the Fieldhouse against non-conference opponents during the regular season. They did lose 2 NIT games. They are 3-0 here at the Gamble Pavilion against non-conference opponents.
Pretty good home numbers.
As a matter of fact, UConn has won 24 straight non-conference regular season home games overall. That includes the old Fieldhouse, this new facility, and the Hartford Civic Center. And in non-league games since joining the Big East, 119 wins and 31 defeats.
I think throughout the Big East, the records have just been tremendous against non-league opponents. Nice move by Steve Peichel.
One reason why you have 5 of them in this week's AP Top 20, and Villanova had the 26th most votes in the AP poll. Ollie Macklin will check in the lineup for the Huskies with 4:09 to go, and he replaces Gwynn. Listen to the ovation for him.
He played well. Put the points up there, played hard, played with intensity.
This is Lewis with the turnaround, rebounded by Macklin with exactly 4 minutes to go in this one. Up the floor, the pass to Williams, knocked out of bounds by New Hampshire. Williams gives to Cerulik, off the give and go to Williams, but he loses the handle. Ellison picks it up, misses the shot. Cerulik with the rebound, no good, but he is fouled. And Cerulik will go to the line to shoot a couple. Jim Boylan played his high school ball at St. Mary's in Jersey City, started his collegiate career at Assumption College in Worcester. So he must have been playing college ball in Worcester at the same time you were at the other college in Worcester, right?
That's right. When I get to Holy Cross in 76, 77, by then Jimmy had transferred to Marquette. 74, 75, he was the ECAC Player of the Year at Assumption, and of course played on the championship team at Marquette 1977, 78. And I feel for him over there. We've had a couple of shots at Jim Boylan where he's just had his head down over on the bench. Sure, he doesn't want his players to see him like that, but he's a competitor, and this is a tough one to sit through. No question about it.
Off the missed free throw, UConn retains possession. This is Gilad Katz, the young man from Israel. Has 2 years of eligibility here at UConn. Williams drives and lays it in. Pretty move by Murray Williams. 6'6" senior from Torrington, former Connecticut High School Player of the Year in his senior year at Torrington High. Ben misses the short jumper. Rebound fought for, controlled by Cerulik. Gives to Williams. 3-on-2 UConn break. Alley-oop to Ellison. Cerulik rebounds and lays it in.
Ellison got a hand on it, kept it alive. Pretty good athletic move, setting the table for Cerulik. But some kind of poor shooting exhibition by New Hampshire. These shots, just looking at them as they go up, you can tell they just don't have a shot as they're going up toward the hoop. UConn really getting out and running now. Is the other Peichel getting a shot here to play a few minutes?
And that would be Tim Peichel, 6'4" junior from St. Paul High School in Bristol. He's Steve's younger brother. These will be the first minutes of the season for Tim Peichel. 3:01 to go in this 111th meeting between UConn and New Hampshire. UConn leads the all-time series 85-25. They haven't played the last 5 years. But UConn has won the last 2 meetings and 4 out of the last 5. Last time they played was in the Connecticut Mutual Classic in December of 1984.
Only now are some people starting to file out of Gamble Pavilion. People have really stayed here with this game.
So Davis at the free throw line makes them both. Exactly 3 minutes to go. And UConn leads it by 56. Largest margin of victory in UConn history. Well, that renowned UConn Wentworth game back in 1919-20. 71-6 the final, 65-point margin.
Now that could be topped. That margin could be topped in this game.
Tim Peichel to inbound beneath the Huskies basket. Gives to Ellison. Outside to Katz. Jim Calhoun called off the Dogs early in this one, at least in terms of the substitution pattern. We have seen very little of Chris Smith, and Rod Sellers, and Scott Burrell this half.
Well, he went to the bench early in the first half and has continued to really substitute through this game. Everyone getting into the act.
Inbound pass to Ellison.
I think everyone would like to see Peichel now maybe pop one through the net. Good hustle by New Hampshire, and here's John Gwynn, who's our player of the game, the Infinity player of the game tonight. The fine effort off the bench, 21 points all over the floor, and here's one of the many fine baskets John put in there tonight from the outside. That one getting it to the goal.
7 for 12 from the line, from the field rather. 6 for 6 from the line was John. There he is, chatting with Chris Smith, his compadre. I don't know what that little shoulder shrug meant. Down low, Chris O'Connor with the ball for New Hampshire, and he stepped on the end. Now, at first he's called for walking before he stepped on the end line. 2:10 left, 82-26 UConn. And as Katz comes up the floor, he will be fouled by Tommy McDonald.
Really needless for New Hampshire at this point, even though they're pressuring to continue to send UConn to the line.
Jim Calhoun plans to give the troops the day off tomorrow and Friday. That was his plan before tonight's ball game. And then they will go back to work to prepare for the date with Fairfield on December 23rd.
2 shots for Katz.
Because New Hampshire is over that 10 foul limit. Jim looks happy for someone up 56, doesn't he?
Keeping the game face on. There's still 2:06 to go.
This will be career win number 333 for Jim Calhoun.
Katz playing some better minutes now for Connecticut in the main game, and tonight get out and ran, filled the lanes, passed the ball pretty well.
Down low to Ben, but Cerulik had a hand on his back and will be called for the personal foul by referee Jackie Hannon. So the Huskies will up their record to 5-1 going into that Fairfield game. UConn started off the year with home wins over Charleston and Hartford, then beat Yale by 1 in a thriller at the New Haven Coliseum, a Yale home game, before losing to North Carolina. Lost by 15, Ron, but that really wasn't a 15-point game. Huskies were winning for the first 33 minutes and then just got into impossible foul trouble.
Well, got to see quite a bit of that game, and that was, you're right, it was three-quarters of it were very well played by UConn.
They were winning 13-1.
Depth hurt late in the game, and it was, for the most part, a pretty good showing. Except for the end result as far as Jim Calhoun is concerned. Big East did very well in the ACC Big East Challenge, winning, what, 6 of the 8 contests. Pitt losing a close game to Virginia.
Not to make excuses, but I think UConn certainly had the toughest task of all 8 Big East teams, playing Carolina at the Dean Dome.
Good point.
Keep in mind, those pairings determined by a vote of the coaches. But the vote by the Big East coaches came before Nadav Hennefeld decided to return to Israel to play professionally.
Slight difference.
Jim Calhoun said, you know, why don't we vote over again? The other 8 said, no, let's not. You can go play Dean down there.
Nice guys. All in the fraternity.
UConn beat Maryland at the Hartford Civic Center in last year's ACC Big East Challenge. Each conference winning 4 games that time. 90 seconds left in this one. 55-point UConn lead. Macklin on the left to Tim Peichel. Hasn't scored yet this year. And he will be called for, no, it'll be a blocking foul. So no, it will be a charge. Tim thought he was going to the line at least for a moment. But Tim Higgins says,
His teammates are trying to get him on the scoring column.
This is Davis, loses the handle. Gives to O'Connor. That right knee. Sporting the brace. Ben with the turnaround in the lane, rebounded by Oliver Macklin.
In traffic.
Lead pass to Ellison for the jam.
Ellison runs the floor well. Nice catch and nice finish up.
So the lead is 57 with 50 seconds to go. So perhaps that record for the margin of victory is secure. That 65-point win back in 1919-1920.
Several references to that game tonight. Shaft Lewis with the nice move. Good-looking young player for New Hampshire.
Ball loose on the floor, jump ball. The possession arrow says New Hampshire. So with 32 seconds left, it will be Wildcats basketball. Down by 55. So New Hampshire 0-7 following the loss tonight. As we mentioned at the very top of the telecast, the New Hampshire program has struggled for years. Entering tonight's ball game 17-100. The last 4 years and first 6 games this year. There's the jumper by Davis with 20 seconds left, 85-32. Cats up the floor, gives to Ellison at the baseline. There you see how much time remains in the ball game. Mr. Rowlett, who's going to take the final shot? The Wildcats for a 3, and that'll do it. So UConn ups its record to 5-1 following a rather convincing 85-32 win over the University of New Hampshire. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a moment.